Hello friends, this is Worm, according to the source material, and today I wanted to talk about spawns in Destiny 2 because there are obviously some issues with spawns in Destiny 2. But before we talk about it, there's a lot of you who aren't subbed. Go down there, hit that sub button so that you can become a part of our daily conversations and debates here on the channel. But let's talk about spawns in Destiny. And first I want to talk about where I got the idea of this. It's playing Modern Warfare 3 beta this weekend, right? It's playing Modern Warfare 3 beta, and the spawns in that game definitely feel kind of off, right? It's like they definitely feel weird compared to Modern Warfare 2 and just general previous Call of Duties and stuff like that. And I was noticing some weird trends. Well, lo and behold, I come back over to Destiny, and I'm playing Destiny PvP this week, Iron Banner and stuff, and I'm noticing some spawn issues, right? And now these spawn issues, I say I'm noticing them like this is something that's new. Like they're issues that have been present forever. But I bring this up because in last week's TWAB, Bungie themselves came out and said that they wanted to fix some of the spawn issues. Is that what they said? Like fix some spawn issues. They want to tweak some spawns, right? So I figured we could talk about the spawn issues that are present, how we can fix them, of course, and not only how you can fix them, but the potential repercussions for fixing those spawn issues, right? So first of all, let's talk about probably some of the most obvious. Some maps are very, very spawn dependent, like whether you win or lose is spawn dependent. Okay, things like Dead Cliffs in Control, things like Ultra Flame on Control, like Dead Cliffs, for example. If you have the A flag and you can't get out of A spawn, you can't flip spawns to the C spawn, your team's probably going to lose, right? Ultra Flame, same thing. If you have the C spawn though, you're more than likely going to lose because, of course, the C spawn is not nearly as good as the A spawn. The A spawn has a lot of, wiggle room to work out of, while the C spawn, you're kind of funneled towards that mid-map area. And I'm sure that's not the only two examples. I'm sure there's other examples of issues with maps where you can easily be spawn trapped, so to speak. And I kind of want to hit on spawn trapping first, because spawn trapping does suck the fun out of the game, right? Like if you get against a team that really knows how to spawn trap, and it doesn't take much. It takes six random people who know Destiny 2, like who are semi-familiar with it, to know how the spawns work. Hell, I'd even say 4 people, right? Because you got the 2 that don't know what's good, and so they try to run in there and then they die and just spawn by. Anyways, look, doesn't matter. Spawn trapping is somewhat of an issue. Now, I don't think it's as bad, and especially Bungie's kind of taken out some of the maps where spawn trapping is really, really prevalent, and they have lowered the amount of times you're going to get in maps like Dead Cliffs, right? Now, I love Dead Cliffs. I wish that it would come back in the full rotation, but I'm only playing Dead Cliffs like once every, every once in a while, once in a blue moon, it seems like, right? While maps like Midtown is present frequently. Things like Cathedral of Dusk, present frequently. What is it? Distant Shore, which is a great map, present pretty frequently. At any rate, spawn trapping, of course, is an issue. And how to fix it, that's the question, right? Because here's the thing. When Destiny 2 was designed with, like when Dead Cliffs was designed, right? Dead Cliffs was designed with a 4v4 play style in position, right? Because for those of y'all who weren't around, Destiny 1 originally, the PvP side of things, the Crucible was 4v4, right? So you had four people on each team. The maps, of course, were somewhat smaller for the most part to cater to that 4v4, but then we went up to 6v6, and then Dead Cliffs became a problem for spawn trapping. Okay, so there's just a little mini history lesson for you. At any rate, because they were designed with these 4v4, styles in mind, these 4v4 gameplay situations in mind, it was relatively easy to break out of spawn traps. I mean, it was very easy to break out of spawn traps. I mean, Dead Cliffs, for example, I don't think Dead Cliffs became problematic up until Forsaken dropped and they changed the 4v4 playlist to now 6v6, right? But anyways, I'm kind of getting off topic here. How can you fix it? The truth is, with a map like Dead Cliffs or Ultra Flame, the issue I don't really think is with the spawns themselves. The issue is more with the map itself, right? Like think about how Dead Cliffs is set up. If you're spawning in A, you have 2 routes to go. You have up through A, or you have around like that kind of like right side where you're like on your way to B, right? That's it. That's the only 2 places you can go, right? And technically, yes, if you go inside, like towards A, there's 2 doors you can go out of. But again, one of those doors, I mean, you're leaving yourself wide open to anybody who's sitting near C and watching down that lane. And the other door right there is you've got enemies off to your, that can be off to your left, down below you, kind of. And they, I mean, they have easy pickings, right? And then of course you go the other way, and it's this long hallway that again, you have to put yourself at substantial risk for, because you go down this hallway, if a sniper or really anybody just comes sliding around the corner, boom, you're dead. Right. So the fundamental issue is, of course, with the maps. Now, when Bungie says they can tweak spawns, you know, they can change spawns, stuff like that, I think what they're talking about is maybe kind of weighting the spawns, right? Like, you know, they're tracking the enemy team and the friendly team, right? They're tracking both teams. They're saying, hey, we've got, you know, 4 people positioned in, you know, here, and here on the map. It's just, you know, points that are not quite pushing into enemy spawn, but they're points where players can stand and hold a spawn hostage, right? And this, okay, so they say the friendly team is doing this. The enemy team is constantly spawning back here at A. How many times have they died trying to get out of here? You know, X amount. Okay, so you know what? Instead of doing this, you know, we're going to have a new logic that is input into the game that will force them to spawn on C or on B or something of that nature, right? You know, and mind you, Destiny, it's not a, like, not a hardcore, like, PvP game mode. It's not, you know, there's not, it's not an esports or anything like that. Like, Destiny is, as, who was it, Zach Bourne puts it, the junk food of games, right? Like, there's literally a medal that requires you to get 7 kills in quick succession, right? So Bungie knows that players are going to be, like, watching other players spawn at times, right? But of course, they don't want to promote that necessarily. Like you should not be spawning in and able to be sniped right off the bats, you know, with 2 headshots because somebody's watching you spawn in very frequently, right? It still happens, but it doesn't happen very frequently. At any rate, I think something they could potentially do is weigh the spawn so that, you know, like I said, that logic starts registering that, hey, this is the pattern of a spawn trap, right? So we're going to start forcing the enemies as they die to spawn back behind, you know, where the blue team is. Let's say blue and red team, right? You know, the blue team is the one who's spawn trapping red. Red is going to start spawning behind blue team. And then blue is going to start spawning behind the red team in that same spawn, right? So they're basically just trying to make an effort to flip the spawn traps, right? And this is one potential option. And, you know, how good it is, I don't know, right? Because there's still issues with it, and we'll talk about the issues with it, but this is something that could help players to break out of spawn traps. It's like, okay, like, we're getting spawn trapped. I'm tired of getting killed in the same spot. Instead of just leaving, the game says, hey, don't leave. We're going to move you back here, right? And just shift the dynamic of the game. And then maybe red team can start spawn trapping blue team. And then after the game registers that spawn trapping is going on, then it flips it again, you know, and stuff like that. But I think that one of the biggest issues with this you know, play style here, right? Or this new logic for spawns is there going to be players who feel like they can never catch up to the action, right? Because what'll end up happening is they will die. They'll spawn far back. So they run up to where the action is, you know, they get close enough, you know, maybe they get 1 kill, then they die again, and then they flip back right into the spawn, right? And so, like, you're kind of in this perpetual cycle of, you know, I'm running to get to the action, you know, and I get to where the action is, I die, and then I'm back to where I was. Like, it's like, okay, like, you know, I'm running to where the spawn trap should happen, but by the time I get there, the enemy team is spawning behind me. They kill me from behind, so then I spawn in the spawn trap, right? And then the game registers I'm getting spawn trapped, and so the game puts me back behind. And players are going to have this situation where they feel like they're not in as much combat as they would like to be for Destiny PvP. And the reason, of course, the reason why is, of course, because the game's logic is pushing them backwards, right? It's pushing them back, and it's keeping them far away from combat. Now, of course, what do you think is better, right? Do you think it's better to spawn in a spawn trap and at least know where the combat is? Or would you rather flip spawns and be running to where the combat is, run the risk of not getting there? Like, that's going to be a decision for you to make on your own, but that's just one of the issues that I could see with having this new line of spawn logic, I guess. We can also do potentially some sort of like team-based spawning, right? So let's say, we'll use dead cliffs again, for example. Dead cliffs is wherever, you're spawning wherever wherever your spawn is, right? A, C, doesn't matter where you spawn. As you die, the game looks for teammates that are kind of out of, I don't want to say out of range, but they're like kind of off by themselves, right? So they implement this style of, I guess, like squad spawning, right? So if I'm running around on dead cliffs and I'm going towards B and my whole team's going towards B, and one teammate decides, hey, I'm going to go towards C, and he gets back there and he kills the two enemies that are on C and everybody else is going to B. As my team gets killed, right, as my team dies, we start spawning, instead of back in our A spawn near our flag, we can start spawning on our, like, near our teammate over there that's by himself. And that's the idea of squad spawns. And I don't see this happening very much in Destiny. Like, Destiny, it seems to me, is much more of a, point-based spawn system, right? So if I'm holding A, it's going to try to spawn me in A unless the enemy is in the A spawn. Then it's going to just push me all the way back to the C spawn, right? And so the squad spawning system is something, again, that could work. Like, I could see it, potentially being very helpful in these situations, and especially because in Destiny, like, if you're not running the optimal build, running solo is risky, right? Because you take enough damage. Like, hey, I won the first gunfight. What is the likelihood you win the second gunfight if you don't have something like, Crimson or Rat King or some other type of healing ready to go to get you back up to full health? It's not very good, right? Like, you definitely running a risk there. But the squad spawn system would, of course, help teammates in a situation where they go kind of rogue. Like me, for example, when I'm on my hunter, playing especially Void Hunter, I like to go on my own and do things, right? And it would be nice sometimes, because, like, on dead cliffs, I spawn in A, my team goes to B, I go towards C, I kill two people back there, right? But they're still spawning at A. Or, I mean, they're still spawning back there at C. Like, I'm on kind of that, like, if you're looking out the door of A towards that, left side of the map where that long stretch is, literally right on the edge of the map, I'm on that side. They're still spawning on the opposite side of C in that far back corner over there, right? And that's somewhat problematic. And of course, squad spawning could help with that, because then, hey, now my team is spawning right here close to me. But at the same time, do we have a situation where it's like, okay, the game's logic starts reading two players off on their own, so then it starts spawning, 2 and 3 people near that player, and all of a sudden you have literally enemies spawning on top of friendlies, right? Like that doesn't happen very often. I think it's happened one time in my Destiny career where I have spawned and I've seen an enemy spawn. Like, I've had sight lines to it, not like they spawn like close to me, like within like 10 meters, something like that. Like, I'm pretty sure that Destiny has a probably like 20-meter safe zone. Could be wrong, but it feels like they have a 20-meter safe zone, meaning that no matter where you spawn, enemies cannot spawn within 20 meters of you, right? But it has happened where I've spawned and I've seen an enemy spawn more than 20 meters away, and it's like, hey, wow, we just spawned looking at each other, right? At any rate, that is the other option. We can do a squad spawn system. Again, the issue with that, I think that you could have people spawning on top of each other. You can start having teams spawn on top of each other. Like I said, sorry. Like I said, teams, if you got two rogues going towards B and everybody goes towards the home flag, or everybody's trying to go to the opposites, A and C, like, you could run into a situation where, okay, hey, 2 people died on blue team, so we're going to spawn them close to this blue guy that's rogue. 2 people died on red team, we're going to spawn them close to this other dude that's out here going rogue. Like, it could potentially become a mess. Now, I'm sure that Bungie can work it out. Like, Bungie is a very smart game development company and stuff like that. Like, I'm sure they could work it out, but that's just, one of the potential issues that could happen. I think another issue with a squad spawn system is, again, like, you don't have like you don't know where you're going to spawn. Like, currently in Destiny, we're playing on Pacifica right here. Obviously this is Eruption, but let's say it was Control, right? If we had the C flag, which is just right back behind me, I know that that's where my team's going to be coming from. 9 times out of 10, they're going to be spawning back there. And I know the enemies are going to be coming from in front of where I am right now, right? That is a, predictable spawn system. And if you switch the squad spawn, it could become very unpredictable. Like, you don't know where you're going to spawn. You might spawn as like, okay, where am I? Okay, there I am. Like, now I've got to go figure out where the enemies are spawning, because, currently we spawn at A, the enemy spawns at C. That's great. all that. Then all of a sudden we start spawning at B. Well, where's the enemy spawning? Are they spawning at A? Are they spawning at C? Or are they spawning like, you know, on a triangular shaped map opposite of where we're spawning, opposite of B? I don't know, you know, and I think that that's one of the nice things that comes with Destiny is those more predictable spawns. Like I feel like that leads to good combat flow, right? But I don't know, that's my opinions on the spawns. That's some of the fixes Bungie could do, but also some of the problems that are presented when they adjust spawns like that. You know, I think that's Bungie should in the Crucible Labs play around with these so they could get player feedback on them at least, so that, you know, players can say, hey, we actually don't like this spawn system because it feels like, you know, for example, the one with you know, so preventing spawn flips because it's easy to move out of them. Well, you know, hey, it feels like we're not getting enough combat because we're spawning far away from the action. By the time we get to the action, if we die, you know, then we're flipped back on the inside. Then we're back to being like a spawn trap, so to speak. I don't know. It could be a mess. And then, of course, the other one with the squad spawns. I think squad spawns would especially be difficult for, you know, maybe some like newer players, you know, who aren't super familiar with the map. Like, again, one of the nice things about Destiny is like, you know, if I have the A flag, I'm probably going to spawn on the A flag, right? So I can learn my way. Okay, so so I took this left route last time. This time I'm going to take the middle route, or this time I'm going to take the right route, right? But if you have the squad spawn system, it's like, okay, I died going through middle, spawn in. Oh, where am I? Well, okay, there's A flag over there, you know, kind of to the left. There's B flag to the right, but there's C flag also to the left. Like, I don't really know where I am. And so I think new players would get confused if they had a squad spawning system. But yeah, like I said, those are just some ideas here and there that Bungie could potentially implement in the Crucible Labs. I want to hear your thoughts though. Like, how do you feel about the spawns? I think overall spawns are pretty decent in Destiny. Like let's be real. Like Pacifica, this map here, I think spawns are really good. Distant Shore, I think spawns are really good. It's only certain maps, you know, maps like I said, Altar of Flame. Altar of Flame has a problematic spawn system. Dead Cliffs has a problematic spawn system. I'm sure you could think of other maps that have problematic spawn systems, and you can tell me down in the comments. But yeah, tell me your thoughts on that. Of course, if you like today's video, drop a like. It helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content, and do me a favor, watch the videos you see on the end screen, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you will like them. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye for now.